Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast powered by Riverwind Casino. Brandon Drum, Parker Thune, and we got a lot to talk about. Fall camp. We got over an hour viewing of practice yesterday for practice number 2. We got a lot of notes on practice number 1. You can find a lot of that stuff right over at OUInsider.com. You go to OUInsider.com, you click the top right hand that says join, and it'll send you to an option to join. And with that, you get OU Insider for $1 for the first week, plus you get The Athletic for a whole year complimentary on us at OU Insider. So make sure you give that a shot. It's worth it. We've had a bunch of people use that promo, by the way, and it's been really cool. So fall camp's here. Let's talk about that, Parker. But first, let's thank our sponsors.
Let's do it, folks. The Under the Visor podcast is brought to you today by Riverwind Casino, OKC's premier gaming destination now for nearly 2 decades. Almost 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars, and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. The pod also brought to you in part by King, a proud partner of OU Athletics and the greatest team to ever clean, delivering spotless results from stadiums to any size business across the country. So check out which of their solutions, I should say, is best for you or your business by going to janiking.com. That's JANIKING.com.
All right, Parker, what stood out, I guess, over the first few practices that you've heard? I mean, without giving away all the tea, but
Man, I'm encouraged by everything that we've heard about that wide receiver room. Man, like the difference is stark. And if you'll recall, we went into the 2024 season confident that that group of receivers could be one of the best group of receivers, maybe the best that Oklahoma had rostered in the 21st century. Now, we have no way of knowing whether that was on track or not because all of those guys got hurt. So we have really no idea how good that receiver room could have been in 2024. And so with the obvious asterisk that you feel like you need to put next to every conversation pertinent to OU football these days, as long as they stay healthy, man, the pieces in this receiver room and the depth therein is super, super exciting. And one of the things that's been continually reaffirmed to me in talking with sources throughout the offseason and also just staying abreast of what's happened on the practice field these first few days is, man, it feels like Oklahoma absolutely nailed their portal evals at wide receiver. Giovanni Gibson, Isaiah Satania, you know those two are going to play major roles for this program. Keontez Lewis has been a big stock riser. Jermichael Carter comes in with some lofty expectations, and he's a guy that's earned some recent praise from Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle. The guy that probably projects to the smallest immediate role is Josiah Martin, but even Martin is a guy that had his moments in the spring. There's a lot of excitement surrounding him going into the fall, not necessarily because of what he's going to contribute to Oklahoma right off the bat in 2025, because I think it's going to be hard, but more so what a guy like him can learn in what amounts to an apprenticeship under Deion Burks and Isaiah Satania in 2025, because he's very much cut from the same cloth as Burks and Satania, right? He's a slot guy who is more than capable of bouncing outside and making plays at outside receiver as well. He's not just a guy that you shoehorn into that slot role. And the same is obviously true of Burks and Satania. Those are guys that are going to see snaps in the slot for Oklahoma in 25, but they're also going to play outside receiver. So Josiah Martin right now is 163 pounds. He's going to need to pack on some weight. There's no question about it. But the Sooners don't need to rush him along. He loves being here. He loves being at the University of Oklahoma. He, by all accounts, is in it for the long haul. And so the long-term prospects with a guy like that are super intriguing. But in the meantime, I would say 4 of the 5 transfers, Carter, Satania, Gibson, and then Keontez Lewis, you can expect to see all 4 on the field quite a bit this fall at this rate.
Yeah, I thought they looked really good I thought, you know, like you talked about body structure wise, I thought this might be, you don't want to say the most physically talented group, because I think that's, I don't know that you could actually say that and with confidence because there's been some really talented wide receivers come through there as a whole, but it's up there. Like they are physically talented. They look the part. They have some size. Keontae Lewis is so much thicker than he was even during the spring. Like it's crazy how thick he is. Like he is stocky and like just well built. So he's going to be, I think he's going to be a really good possession receiver for Oklahoma going across the middle. He fits the SEC mold of that physical, not huge wide receiver, but in that 5'11 to 6'2 range, that can power through a lot of the physical safeties and linebackers that he's going to come across, uh, running the routes that he's probably going to be running for Ben Arbuckle's offense. Deion Burks looks really good too. Like in just from, I don't want to say he looked a little squirrely last year, like as far as like build, like because he didn't. He was sawed off. But do you not think he looks even more sawed off this year? Just bigger
He
and
does.
thicker.
He does. Yeah, he looks like he's packed even more muscle onto that frame.
Yeah. And that to me, I think is the difference between health and injury for him, just because of his size in general. So we'll see, obviously, as the season rolls along. I thought, you know, the guy that looks the part to me that I feel is going to not necessarily play quite a bit early on, but I think as the season rolls around, you're going to see this kid more and more as Elijah Thomas. Like,
Mm.
he looks so good. He does. Like, I don't know what it is about him. Probably recency bias, seeing the little dunks that he did during that dunk competition. There's not very many guys in this world that can do what he does athletically. And so for me, I think that'll translate onto the field, particularly this year. I think I think Burks and Mateer are probably going to be the surprise for the SEC as far as a combination of just the rapport that they have. And I saw Josh Pate say, "Don't make me say these," whatever he said. He was talking about hyperbole on Twitter and
Hmm.
say some outlandish things because of what he saw in that video. But I think there's some validity to it. I think they've worked together. They traveled together and like trained together all off season. So that I think is going to play into the field. I also thought the offensive line just looks good, Parker. Like, and I don't, you remember we were talking about how it was questionable last year, just about this time, like, ugh. And then we had Kel Gundy on, right?
Yep.
And he was like, dude, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. You're not hearing that right now. Like
No.
everybody's like, no,
No.
this offensive line's good. And no, they've got to do it in games.
Yeah, and like, look, do you necessarily have Joe Moore Award expectations for this
No,
offensive line?
no.
No, but I think you're also dealing with a quarterback in John Mateer, who just because of his style of play, because of the nature of who he is on the football field, he doesn't need to have elite protection to be able to function and thrive in Oklahoma's offense. He excels at going off script. He excels at making stuff happen outside the pocket when the play breaks down. And so I don't like I don't think it's going to be a situation like it was a year ago where the pocket's just collapsing so fast that no quarterback really has any hope of getting the ball out on time and on schedule. And as long as that's
Mhm.
the case, man, as long as this is a B plus offensive line for Oklahoma in 2025, man, this offense should get clicking in a major way.
2015. I'm going to say it over and over. 2015. Remember how bad the 2014 offensive line was as far as just pass blocking? I mean, freaking Trevor Knight just took a beating. Cody Thomas took a beating. It got to the point where all they did was run the ball. P. Ryan, left, P Ryan right. That was literally the offense in 2014. 2015 rolls around, they're better. They go to Tennessee, and I want everybody to remember that Tennessee game. What stood out more than anything in that Tennessee game was Baker Mayfield extending plays and making the throws. That is what is going to happen this year. I'm calling it right now. That it has to happen for OU to be successful. The the extension of the plays from John Mateer has to happen. And because there are a lot of like, and we've talked about the similarities between 2015 and 2025 quite a bit. They are deep and they are extensive. In almost every metric, just boom, 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 all the way down to the dumbest detail. They're almost like parallel, in line, lockstep with each other. And so I think you're going to see a lot of that this year. Now, I'm not predicting playoff or anything like that, like it was in 2015, but week two, week two, we're going to know what this offensive line's made of in week two, for sure. And of all places last year, what was the biggest issue Oklahoma had last year
Yeah,
with the offensive line? No,
you
no,
say
no.
that
I
like
know,
there's
but the big, but okay,
you say that
you
like
have to
there's an
think,
obvious answer.
but there is obviously youth and
Lack of
inexperience with
continuity, is that where you're going?
for sure. But there's all a reason for that lack of continuity. You didn't have a center for a lot of the time last year that had the experience because Everett got hurt, right? And when that happens, guess what? You don't have somebody that's going to be able to call the slides, the protections, all of that type of stuff. So what did they end up having to do? They had to move Jacob Sexton into left guard to try and communicate. But that took another step. So he would have to call it to the center. The center would have to call it down further instead of the center calling it to the left and to the right. One swooping call. And it caused a lot of problems, like the whole whisper game, how it changes, right? When you go person to person. And that was a lot of the communication was a lot of the issue last year. You've got two centers. Like if God forbid Troy Everett goes down because he's a really good freaking football player, you do not want that to happen. But guess what? You have a really experienced person backing him up potentially in Jake Michaela
Mm-hmm.
that's played a lot of football, that knows the protections, that understands the game, isn't a true freshman or a redshirt freshman out there trying to lead an offensive line. And I think Parker, I think that's going to play a massive role into this, what they do as a unit this year, as a whole. Plus, they have experience depth, right? Which they did not have last year. It was throw out inexperience. And on top of that, the inexperience that they have is Ryan Foje and Michael Fasusi.
Can I offer a hot
Math,
take?
go
Like,
for it. Go for it.
and I think after what
I'm
I
here for hot
saw and
takes
heard
all day.
yesterday, I'm comfortable just going full speed ahead with this take.
Okay.
I I don't want anybody to take what I say and turn it into something else. I I want this to be taken at face value because I don't intend this to
Yeah, that's not
be
happening. But go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
like
Go
this
ahead.
is not indicative of anything, any belief that I have, whether explicit or implicit, beyond the 2025 season about these two guys. But I think if you are just keeping the conversation exclusive to the 2025 depth chart, I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
better chance that Ryan Foje is on the two deep in 2025 than Michael Fasusi.
I don't think that's a hot take. And yeah, people are like, what? Break it down for him, Parker, because
Yeah,
look,
well,
you
I
have
mean, look,
Jacob
like
Sexton, you got Derek Simmons, you have Logan Howland, and oh my God, who's the other one?
Isaiah Autry Dent.
Isaiah Autry Dent. Yeah.
Yep. Look, I mean, here's how I see
It's
it,
gonna be tough.
Brandon. Like, Fasusi was the lone five-star in the 2025 recruiting cycle for Oklahoma. And I think the impression there in the minds of so many fans, especially those that only follow recruiting somewhat casually, has been, oh, he's the lone five-star. He's easily the best prospect in the 2025 class. And he is an outstanding prospect. I mean, there's a reason why everybody in that building speaks so highly of Michael Fasusi and what he has the
Mhm.
potential to be. But Ryan Foje was a top 100 player in the country as well. He didn't have that fifth star, but in terms of where he sat in the rankings relative to Michael Fasusi, there was not that wide of a chasm. And Foje, similarly, was a guy that everybody in the country wanted. And
Yes.
his recruitment was over like that, Brandon. I mean, you remember, like he just visited Oklahoma unofficially one weekend at the beginning of February of last year and shut it down. And he committed, and
Mhm.
that was that. And he had some of the biggest offers in the country, but he didn't care. He wanted to come play for Bill Bedenbaugh. He said, Bill
Mhm.
Bedenbaugh's the best. Bill Bedenbaugh can get the most out of me. And so as I look at those two guys and their respective levels of talent, yes, Fasusi, especially because of the soccer background and just the outstanding footwork that he has, and the fact that he plays left tackle. Yeah, there's definitely a higher ceiling for him in the long run, especially when you're
Yes.
talking about NFL draft prospects. Like Fasusi could be
Yep.
a top 5 pick in the NFL draft one day if he's developed properly. That's very much on the table. Ceiling probably isn't quite that high for Ryan Foje because he's more than likely going to settle in at guard in the long term. But here's what I saw yesterday at practice. Fabechi Wiwu was away from the team just for a day for a personal commitment, not anything, not any substantial issue that should worry anybody. Like it's not going to be a case of where's Waldo with Fabechi Wiwu throughout fall camp. Just a 1 day commitment that he had. He'll be back with the team very shortly. But in his absence, Ryan Foje got a ton of first team and second team action at right guard. And man, who does he look exactly like? I know you see it. Who does he look exactly like out there? Number and all.
Oh, Caden Green.
Caden
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah.
He looks like physically exactly like Caden Green.
Yeah.
Exactly like Caden Green. And from everything that we saw and everything that I heard, in talking to sources that were privy to the closed portion of practice yesterday after they shut it off to the media, Ryan Foje was tremendous yesterday. Tremendous. And examining that depth chart at guard versus that depth chart at left tackle, which is obviously the position that Fasusi is going to settle at. At left tackle, you have two guys in Jacob Sexton and Logan Howland that have started quite a bit for Oklahoma at left tackle in their
Mhm.
day. So I would say right now, the onus is on Fasusi to unseat Sexton and or Howland at the top of that depth chart. My expectation, I think the consensus expectation is that Sexton is going to break camp as your starter and Howland will be right there behind him on the second team, on the second string. At guard, it's a lot more unsettled beyond Fabechi Wiwu. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't even know right now who's going to start at left guard. You have Heath Ozida, you have Eddie Pierre Louis, Daniel Akinkunmi could factor into the picture. But at right guard, man, obviously Fabechi Wiwu is the guy. Obviously, that's the guy that's going to break camp as your starting right guard. But it feels like that race to be his primary backup, it's anybody's game. And it could
Yeah.
very well be Ryan Foje's just because of the immense athleticism that he brings to the table. He's a very athletic offensive lineman. He's strong, he's tenacious, and by all accounts, he has not been overwhelmed by what Oklahoma has thrown at him and what Bill Bedenbaugh has thrown at him in the 7 months since he got to campus. So, in many ways, I think the trajectory here is reminiscent of the Caden Green trajectory during his freshman year at Oklahoma. And similarly, I can see a situation in which Foje ultimately settles into the two deep. And who knows, you may be one injury, one blown assignment away from seeing the field. And I think with both Fasusi and Foje, you're comfortable asserting, right, Brandon, that if those guys had to see the field in 2025, obviously you would prefer not to have to throw a true freshman into the fire in the SEC. But if those guys had to see the field, they wouldn't be overwhelmed by the task at hand.
No, I think at the end of the day, you're looking at two guys that, um, obviously Foje, Fasusi, that you feel that, I don't know, to me, Foje, just from what I saw in San Antonio, I'm just going to throw that out there because I saw a guy that was playing center, right?
Yep,
Remember, they moved him to center
that's
for
right.
that All American game. He is so versatile that he intrigues Bill Bedenbaugh so much that I think his versatility is going to allow him to be on the field probably more than even Fasusi early on. Again, because he can play multiple positions, he's just that versatile. And you can slide him out to tackle, and he will be just fine at tackle. You can put him at guard; he will be just fine at guard. You can put him at center. Probably need some work at center, from what we saw, but he can do it. Fasusi is a tackle. Like that's who he is. He's a tackle. And because of the four guys in front of him are so talented and experienced, mind you, outside of I guess Autry, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's just going to be hard. But Autry's been in the system. Autry's put on the weight. He understands what's being not really Arbuckle's system, but he's been through Bill Beanembo's coaching, his system of coaching over and over and over for what now a year. So you're plus. So there's a difference there. Um, I I I don't want to write Fasusi off. That's why I don't think what you said is a hot take. But at the same time, I would be kind of shocked if by the end of the year Fasusi wasn't in the two deep. Would you not?
You think he jumps over Howland?
Maybe they can move Howland to right tackle.
But would they? I mean,
Why
is there
not?
need to like at right tackle? Right now, you have Derek Simmons, you have Jake Taylor, and you have Isaiah Autry Dent.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That tackle room all of a sudden got really deep really
I
fast.
know it really did.
Like really fast. Dude, now that like you're throwing the names out there and I'm like, man, I don't know. Cuz Jake Taylor's good. Like there was a point in time he was a starter, right? Um, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I think guard is probably interior offensive lineman. And that was kind of the issue is that they needed an extra interior offensive lineman in the recruiting, right? So I guess it would go to show that Foje would be able to touch the field earlier in comparison to Fasusi. But I do agree with you that upside is, I don't want to say it's not close, but just for the sheer fact that Fasusi plays left tackle
Hmm.
makes it almost undeniable that he has a better draft potential as far as like ceiling goes. So, um, I still thought Fasusi looked good and the things that we saw yesterday. I mean, I think they're that, and that's my point is that the offensive line, like if you're down to your seventh tackle, Parker, and they're that good, like if you're an OU fan, your chest should be out. Like you remember how bad they were last year, and they still almost won 8, 9 games. What could happen this year with a experienced quarterback, with a healthy wide receiver room, and a healthy offensive line? That's kind of scary because to the next question, is this defense better than last year's? Minus Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman. Is it better?
See, this is, and I want to adjust the phrasing a little bit here.
Okay.
Is it better?
I had a really
They
strong
haven't played
source
any
say that
games yet.
I understand that, but I had a source just yesterday around it daily, every day. This defense will be better than last year's defense.
Okay, will be better. Okay, that's a different. Yes. See, the phrasing there is a little bit
Well, I
different. I'm
mean,
more comfortable with that.
obviously,
Like,
we're talking about in the season. I'm not talking about day two of fall camp. No.
will
I'm
they
saying,
be better? Yes, I believe they will. I think this will be the best Oklahoma defense that Brent Venables has put out there in his 4 years as head ball coach
Because why?
because they are so
Defensive
deep
line.
and they are so versatile.
Hmm.
In addition to the fact that, as you mentioned, they probably have the best defensive line in the SEC. But to me, I think what was really eye opening was being out there at practice yesterday and seeing how many different guys were playing different spots,
Yeah.
especially Kendall Daniels and Reggie Powers. And Reggie Powers, that might have been the guy that we slept on too heavily throughout the
Hmm.
offseason because we talked a lot about Peyton Bowen and Jaden Hardy at that strong safety spot. And we talked a lot about Kendall Daniels and Kendall Dolby at the Cheetah. But who was out there getting a bunch of first team reps at both Cheetah and strong safety yesterday? Reggie Powers was. And so it feels to me, and it lines up with some of what I've heard talking to sources within the program. It feels to me like they're going to make an early effort to get Reggie Powers some snaps and see what he can do with them. Because, man, if you recall, Brandon, and that was a late pickup for Oklahoma in the 2024 recruiting class when they went and nabbed Reggie Powers out of Centerville, Ohio. That dude's high school tape was fun. He is, and he didn't see the field as much as Michael Boganowski did last year. Boganowski was on the field a little bit more, the safety spot.
Hmm.
Most of Powers' action came on special teams. But man, those two on signing day in 2024, when we were looking over that class, it was very clear at the time, and it's becoming even more clear now, that Michael Boganowski and Reggie Powers would become two of the better football players, perhaps two of the best football players in that entire 2024 signing class for Oklahoma. So I don't know that I don't know that there was necessarily an expectation placed upon Boganowski and Powers that they would be ready to contribute in major capacities as sophomores, but I think they're both going to. And in my mind, they're ahead of schedule, man, because this is 2025 is supposed to be the Peyton Bowen, Robert Spears Jennings year, right?
Yeah.
But if you see Boganowski and Powers cutting into that action for the two of them to some degree, I think that speaks volumes for where they're headed and where they can be in 2026 and assuming they're still around 2027. Then Kendall Daniels was bouncing quite a bit between
Hmm.
Cheetah and inside linebacker on the field a lot with the first team. He looks so impressive, man. So impressive. Better than he
Yeah.
did in spring. Like he kind of looked like a man among boys in spring. And that's saying something because there aren't many boys on the defensive side of the ball for Oklahoma right now. Those dudes are hosses. And Kendall Daniels still just sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, whoa, there's a giant out there.
Yeah.
And it's Kendall Daniels with the big long dreadlocks. I mean, he's a legit 6'5". He's a legit 240 pounds and he moves so dang well, man. And so I think the different looks that Oklahoma is going to be able to create defensively with how much they can move around some of those pieces, not just Powers and not just Daniels, but even up front with a guy like Grayson Halton who can line up off the edge and has lined up off the edge in his career at Oklahoma. A guy like Peyton Bowen who can slide down and play that cheetah role as well. You can go three safeties with some combination of the guys you have in that room, something like Spears, Jennings, Bowen, Powers, etc. Man, to me, the Achilles heel, if there is one right now, the point of concern that I have would be the cornerback group. But assuming that cornerback group gels, assuming there are answers that emerge there, and I think Cortland Guillory is quickly emerging as a guy that can be an answer. Man, I think the defense could be exceptional in 2025. I
Yeah.
expect it to be another top 20 unit, verging on a top 10 unit, especially if they stay healthy and aren't derailed by injuries. They could be a top 5 defense in the country. I don't
Yeah.
think that's out of the question just based on the sheer talent they're rolling out there.
The You brought up the cornerback room. I Kendall Dolby, like everybody kept talking about Kendall Dolby playing outside corner. He's going to play out, and even BV said it during his presser. And I think we all just kind of looked at it and we're like, oh, well, whatever. I mean, he's going to stay to cheetah. I don't think he has to play cheetah. I don't. I think Kendall Daniels is good enough to be that cheetah. I think Reggie Powers is good enough to be that cheetah. That you can play Kendall Daniels in a variety of other places and be just as good defensively, if not better. I think he has to be on the field at in some capacity, probably 75% of the time, right? I think that needs to be the case. But it doesn't have to be the cheetah spot. Like, I think he's a good enough outside corner. I thought Jacoby Johnson looked really good. And was talking to somebody yesterday and the day before about Jacoby Johnson. And funny thing is they said exactly what Jacoby Johnson said about himself. He said, "This is the most focused I've been." And then this person said, "This is the most focused he's been." Like, he knows he is a leader out there. He's vocal. He's making the calls. He's not looking around like he did last year, like, what's the call? What am I doing here? And a lot of that had to do with him bouncing back and forth to the offense, to the defense. That wasn't Jacoby's fault at all. He was put in a horrible position last year to not succeed. And that's not going to happen this year, obviously. And at the same time, he I was standing there was a scout standing right next to me. And he turned and asked somebody who that was. And he said, Jacoby Johnson. And the scout goes, that dude looks like an NFL corner already.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. If he can figure this thing out between him, Eli Bowen, Gentry Williams, Kendall Dolby, and whoever else you want to throw out there, whether it's Guillory, whether it's Devon Jordan, who also looked really good, Jeremiah Newcomb he looks like Billy Bowman. Like, he is sawed off, dude. It's just sawed off. Um, yeah, the talent's there. I think it's just going to be conforming that talent to be cohesive with the rest of the unit that is already really experienced and ready to roll. And I think the one thing you have to rely on, and it's a scary realization at this point, if you're Jay Valai, is you have to keep Eli Bowen and Gentry Williams healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's been difficult, very difficult. Um, Taylor Wine talked about a lot, and we're out there watching it. And every time he takes a rep, every coach, way to go, Taylor. That's an amazing job. And everybody's high fiving him. So we got to see exactly what everybody's talking about. So the hour plus, do you believe the hype?
On Taylor Wine?
Yes.
Oh yeah, trust me, I didn't need that hour to believe the hype on Taylor Wine. When
Yeah.
that many people are talking up a guy like that over the course of the offseason, you know it's real. You
Yeah.
know it's real with Taylor Wine. You'll be able to find one or two people that can offer praise to any of the 105 guys on the roster. But when everybody organically is going out of their way to praise Taylor Wine, that's how you know it's legit. And so I certainly believe it. Certainly believe with him. I also wonder if maybe, and this is an odd question to even pose with a former five-star, is PJ maybe the guy that's not getting talked about enough at defensive end?
Which is weird because like you said, he's a former 5-star. Yeah, maybe, probably, because he looked the part yesterday. He looks way like I had a source tell me the other day, like he looks more fluid. Like he's finally to that point where he's not like stiff off the edge. He's able to dip and do what he needs to do. And he probably could last year, but we didn't get to see that version of him because of his ankles. I don't think that was your ankles are kind of your access point, right?
Mm-hmm.
To do whatever you do at defensive end. And you saw that with R. Mason Thomas in 2023 and 24. You saw that with PJ. Like, it just bad ankles equal not playing up to your ability or not playing at all. Either or. So yeah, You're probably right, Parker. You're probably right with PJ. Again, another spot that super deep, super deep.
Yeah, I listen, I haven't sold my PJ stock yet.
No,
And I I would encourage everybody to hold on to that stock as well, because I do think that guy is going to get back to playing good football for Oklahoma in 2025. How much he plays, how much he's on the field, I don't really know, because obviously R. Mason Thomas is going to be on the field as much as R. Mason Thomas can be on the field. And then you have a committee of guys that are all going to be pushing for action as well, between Taylor Wine and Marvin Jones Jr. and Danny Okoye as well. But I think you're going to see PJ in meaningful situations once again in 2025. I think you're going to start to see the guy that Oklahoma knew he could be when they signed him as a five-star recruit in the 23 cycle out of Kansas City.
yeah. Hey, real quickly before we move on, want to thank two more sponsors. First, we want to thank Refine You Med Spa, Oklahoma City. Achieving a healthy weight can be challenging to do on your own, but you're not alone. The skilled team at Refine You Med Spa offers treatments that complement weight loss goals and long-term weight loss support, so you achieve a weight that supports good health and self-esteem. You can achieve your ideal look and feel with Refine You's state-of-the-art practices that offers a diverse selection of aesthetic treatments, providing services that benefit every body shape and skin type. They're talking Botox, Dysport, Daxify, dermafillers, laser treatments for skin tightening, resurfacing sun repair, moles, all that type of stuff. They help you at Refine You Med Spa get that look that you're looking for, whether you're wanting to tone up, get nutrition. They have all that hair loss. They're helping with that. Trust me, I'm losing my hair. I don't do anything about it, but I'm losing my hair. If I wanted to, Refine You Med Spa could help out. Um, they do, I guess, O shot, P shot, body sculpting services, including the sculpting to get rid of those unwanted pockets of fat, and cool tone to tighten up and tone muscles without the workouts. Make sure you give Refine You a call for a free consultation at 405-849-5391, or go to refineyouokc.com to make sure you get a part of the number one med spa in Oklahoma City for the past 6 consecutive years with 405 magazines. Refine You Med Spa, they don't sell procedures, they sell results. And then lastly, there is only one way to describe Roback. Best fit, best feel. We're talking RHOBACK, Roback. If you like polos, pullovers, all that type of stuff. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable active wear. Roback has released so many items within the new licensed game day collection, and it's our favorite. With novel polo designs and clean hoodie and Q-tip zip designs for some of your favorite schools, it's definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing this level of custom designs with this quality of activewear. Make sure you use the code. I believe the code, Parker, is OKL20. OKL20 to get 20% off your entire order of Roback. All you have to do is go to roback.com, go to the Oklahoma Activewear, and type in OKL20 to get 20% off. RHOBACK.com, Roback. All right. So, lastly but not least, quarterbacks. You talked, like, what surprised you the most of the quarterback room did yesterday?
What surprised me, I don't know
Yeah,
if
you
anything.
you were talking about the size of somebody. I'm gonna let you describe just how
Okay,
large of a
pause.
team. Okay, we're not talking perverted like size. I'm talking like height, weight.
On your Hugh Freeze length and girth vibes, huh?
I didn't say girth, did I?
No, did you see that soundbite though from Hugh
I
Freeze?
did.
Yeah.
I did. Just making sure I didn't say girth.
Oh man. Whit Newbauer's a big dude. I mean, he's
Huge.
listed at 6'6", so I guess that's not a surprise, but
But when you see it in
man.
person, it like brings the validity to it, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like, well, shoot, if quarterback doesn't work out, that guy could go play tight end. He'd be all right there. But yeah,
Yeah,
first chance to get eyes on Whit Newbauer. First chance to see what he actually looks like up close and in person. And I mean, look, he's QB3, so
yeah.
not necessarily a ton of significant takeaways there. But man, John Mateer, I think it's cool to see John Mateer very clearly represent, I suppose, the sun in the Sooner solar system, if you will. Like everything very conspicuously orbits around John Mateer. He's the centerpiece. He's the guy that all the other dudes are looking towards. He was the guy that was breaking him down with Sooner Jacks yesterday. And man, you just he's got a presence about him such that you always know where he is on the field. As the kids say, he's got aura, right?
Yeah.
And man, it truly does feel like he is the linchpin for this football team.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I genuinely don't know whether that dynamic was ever there last year. You know, like it was there in 2023 with Dylan Gabriel. I don't know whether it was there last year. And so I think that's kind of what stood out to me, just seeing how the whole team kind of gravitates to Mateer and has that respect for him. You know, I I look, ultimately, what does that mean? Not much of anything if he doesn't perform on the football field, but it's John Mateer's team.
Yeah.
I mean, that much is evident.
Yeah. So I was watching them do just normal drills, and I got some video of it for us over at OU Insider, the YouTube. You can see some of our practice stuff over there. Or if you're watching there, you can just click on and watch it after you watch
Mhm.
this. But um, yeah, I thought his arm is always stronger than I always remember it. I was watching 24 John Mateer highlights this morning, just trying to refresh my memory because I was thinking about it. I was like, was his arm that strong last year? And he didn't have to make a lot of the throws, I don't think, that he's going to have to make this year. Tighter windows, all that. So he didn't really have to put on a show with his arm strength. He does in the SEC. He does going up against Brent Venables defense. And I just his arm strength, I think, is just stronger than what I remember. So I think that stood out. I think also Michael Hawkins, just his confidence. You can tell it's different this year. You can see it. He's more confident in who he is as a player. And I've been told that by multiple sources. So to see it play out in person, I thought was really, really encouraging, I think, overall. So I think Oklahoma's good to go at quarterback for the first time since 2023. And that's not a knock on Jackson because I thought, or Michael Hawkins last year, I just thought that they were kind of thrown into the fire when
Yeah.
they should have been. So um, I think that's fair. Um, but the other thing was running back. Obviously, Jaden Ott looked really good, phenomenal. Um, Torrey Blaylock in inside drills was really good.
That's going to be interesting, isn't it? Like if Tory
Really good.
Blaylock actually pushes for playing time, if Tory Blaylock proves that he's too valuable to just redshirt and he starts making some serious noise throughout camp in that backfield, man, you don't have enough touches to go around for five running backs, right?
No.
Somebody is going to wind up getting shuffled out of the picture. Who
The
might that
DeMarco
be?
Murray conundrum every year.
I don't know, but hey, like isn't this a great problem to have, Brandon? Isn't this
Yeah.
the problem that you would much rather have than the problem you've had the last two seasons where Oklahoma's seemingly just been trying to find somebody, anybody that can reliably tote the rock in a three down
Right.
capacity, even a two down capacity.
Right.
And it hasn't been there for Oklahoma. It wasn't there in 2023. It wasn't there in 2024. It's kind of it's
You don't
kind
think
of
it was there in
crazy how
23 with the last half of the year when he got healthy?
Oh, with Sawchuck, yes,
Well,
certainly.
104.
I mean,
Okay,
he
so you're talking like before he got healthy, they were trying to find the issue.
exactly, exactly.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Sawchuck provided that stability for what 4 or 5 games in
Yeah, yeah,
2023, but outside
yeah.
of that, man, it just There hasn't been any semblance
It's
of
true.
consistency. There hasn't been anybody that seized the bull by the horns in that backfield. And
Very true.
like if he has five running backs that deserve to see the field in 2025, not all five are going to see the field, but that's okay. Because
A
that
couple of them
means
will see the
whoever
portal.
is
Things that'll
seeing the field,
happen.
man, whoever is seeing the field, and obviously Jaden Knott's going to get the lion's share of the touches. We understand that. There's probably room for two two additional backs to get regular snaps. So at least one, potentially two guys are just getting more or less left out of the picture entirely. Again, don't know who that may be, but it really is crazy to think how drastically that running back room has kind of flip-flopped
Mm-hmm.
since last season. That room and the offensive line room, well, and the wide receiver room too, right? Three rooms that you just can't help but feel so much better about.
For sure.
So much better about than what you were looking at a year ago.
So you were in agreement with me that Tory Blaylock looked phenomenal in inside drills yesterday.
He looks great physically, man. He's got burst, he's got juice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I think there's something there. I
Yeah.
think there's something there. Can he outpace Xavier Robinson and or Taylor Tatum and or Javante
Ugh.
Barnes? I don't know. But at the very least, Brandon, if Oklahoma does still choose to slap a red shirt on Tory Blaylock and just hold him back till 2026, I feel pretty confident asserting that the 2026 version of Tory Blaylock is going to see the field a ton,
Yeah,
regardless of who else is in the backfield committee at that point.
for sure. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast, fall camp version number 1. Excited to have football back. And if you're excited to have football back, come join us at OUinsider.com. All you got to do is type in OUinsider.com. Go up to the top right. It says join now. Boom. It'll send you to a little page that you click on it and you click on sign up. You get OU Insider for $1 for the first week, right? And then after that, it's $11.99 a month. And you get The Athletic for a whole year, complimentary on OU Insider and on 3. So make sure you sign up. A lot of people are taking hold of that deal. Also, if you're a college student or active duty, promo is back. We will give you OU Insider for $1 a month for the first 3 months. So that's basically $3 for 3 months, basically. And then it'll go over to $11 a month after that. But you get August, September, October for $3. You send us an email from your .edu, from your active duty military account. It has to be from the .edu email account. It has to be from your active duty military account. We will send you a promo code. That way you can sign up for OU Insider VIP for $1 a month for the first 3 months on us. We hope to have you on there. We had a lot of people. We pitched that out there yesterday on Twitter, and boom, it hit on like gangbusters. I've already sent like a bunch of emails out to people to sign up. So hope to see you guys on there. Love the college students. We love to help you guys out. We love to help active duty military. Make sure you guys stay in the know with recruiting, with football stuff, team notes, all that type of stuff. We have that over there for you at OU Insider VIP. Plus, there's a community. Start your own threads. Talk to Parker and I, Jesse, Brody, everybody over at OU Insider VIP on a daily basis. We're there to talk to you. It's a fun community. Come join us, OUinsider.com. All right. For Parker Thune, my name is Brandon Drum. You guys have a blessed day.